Hello. Well, for those that are tuning in and watching me, that you can see that I'm probably in a fairly dark room behind me because it's early hours of the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm talking about a topic that's probably one of the most controversial topics between leadership and sales professionals, and that is logging your activity. So I'm going to talk about this from two perspectives. One as a sales professional, and then I'm going to talk to it from a perspective as a sales leader. So logging activity or sales activity is something that's been around for forever. Certainly in the 30 odd years plus in sales roles that I've had as a sales professional, there's been some form of logging your sales activity. Back when I first started in sales, it was customer cards, which some of you may recall that, your client's details on what they call these customer reference cards, and you had to update them every day at the end of the day when you come back in the office of your activity and try and put as much information on that card as possible, which was interesting. When you took over an area, you had the customer card and reading a couple of lines of what the previous salesperson had put in there to try and ascertain as much information and profile of the customer as possible. Today we're a little bit more fortunate. We've got some great technical tools with us that allows us to profile our customers a lot better, and also in the way of activity, task management and things like that. So some great tools. What I found as a sales professional, probably one of the most common areas I could see working in teams is when the sales manager would have a talk to an individual and say, look, you need to start logging your activity. You haven't updated your report or the CRM in more recent times. And then there was a lot of pushback often in those cases. I never had a challenge really with logging my activity because I felt like, well, if I'm doing my job, it's not an issue type thing. However, it was interesting, particularly talking with individuals I used to work with, and how they perceived logging their activity was often like this. Management don't trust me to do my job, so they're now going to micromanage me. That is one perspective. The other one I often heard was they're going to use this to get rid of me if they need to. So there's a whole mistrust built around it. The third one, more common, was what's the point? There's no point, no one reads the notes or the CRM, so why should I do it? So that's on the negative side. However, from what I've encountered with sales professionals is they look at it in a completely different light. They look at it as a tool to allow them to kind of work the area a lot better, manage their time more effectively, and set tasks for themselves, and it's like their own tool, so they don't have an issue with it. The other thing is it's documentation of activity that's taken place that they can refer back to, but probably more importantly is they can see, opportunities within their area by pulling out the data that they've entered, and it will actually, I'll talk to that shortly. From a leadership perspective, it's critical. You need it as a leader to be able to obtain data and validate what your sales team are telling you. Sales professionals or salespeople are probably one of your highest paid resources in the business, and certainly in many cases that should be the case because they need to get the volume of sales into your business in order for your business to succeed and manage your clients and grow your client pool. So it's not really a question of are they worth it, but it's more a question of how do I validate the information that is fed back to me. There's been many cases when I've been in a leadership role, a salesperson has told me something, or I've got feedback. It could be that they're behind budget, it could be they're having challenges in the market with competitor activity. But where it gets very difficult is if you've got no go-to point where you can actually extract data which will actually validate what a salesperson is telling you. The other thing that I found very helpful when leading teams with the CRM system was it's often what I do is kind of at the end of quarter, I'd run a report which would pull all the activity, the visits across the quarter period. It would show what accounts have been visited or been phoned. And then I'd pull also another report that would show the sales results. Often what that would do by doing would allow the salesperson, I used to just pass it on to the sales team for them to read that data. It wasn't a case of me kind of, hey, look, you're not doing this. I'd ask them, what are you seeing? And often what they'd come back with and go, I didn't realise how much attention I was giving that account, which was giving me very little return. However, the account that wrote a certain amount of business for me, I only serviced that a couple of times in the last quarter. There's a bigger opportunity there. Maybe I'll flip it around a bit, service this account at a higher rate, and the other one I'll drop back a little bit because it doesn't seem like the opportunity's there. That was one opportunity and something that was often very helpful for a salesperson. The other one is you can see as a sales leader, you can see, for example, in many cases where you might have a salesperson that's actually got a lower activity, but they're having a higher conversion or a higher output. And that allows you to dig into that kind of activity and actually look for patterns. And patterns being that, what accounts are they servicing, where the others may not be, what type of profile of customer are they obtaining the success from, and it can help you identify and then share that within the team and actually kind of redirect the team in a certain way. So from a leadership's perspective, it's very important. The other thing from a leadership's perspective, as your business grows, and particularly if you become part of an ASX listed business or a listed business, when you're reporting through to senior leaders and senior management and shareholders of the business, guidance, kind of giving feedback from the gut doesn't kind of fly. So you've got to actually validate what you're reporting back to your stakeholders. It may need, for example, if I put it in context, your point of difference in the market has been diminished because there's been another competitor come to market. So to validate that, you need to show that in some way as well. So it's okay, you want to show that your sales team are active out there in the market. That hasn't declined or changed. But what you're seeing is your conversions are starting to drop. So you need to validate that activity in some way. Just standing before a board and saying, look, my gut instinct is this is how I'm feeling, won't wash. And that's the challenge as your business starts to grow. When it's small, nimble, it's a smaller team, it's easier to kind of go through those kind of patterns. But as the business starts to grow, you need more facts and data before you. From a sales perspective, the other one, and again, if I talked about growth businesses, I see this often, is where there's not too much structure around the sales team to begin with, and they have some success, and the products or services have got a certain need in the market. They grow their book, and then what happens often is the salesperson gets stuck in the way that they can't manage their portfolio how they used to manage it by being reactive. So they become stuck because they can't actually continue to feed the funnel. So why would a CRM make a difference with us? Well, that's where it's a great tool, and sales professionals use it effectively, is that they can start then driving their activity through the CRM. For example, they can link their emails through to the CRM. So it actually records every time they send an email to that account, it actually records an activity directly into the CRM. It's a good reference to go back to. You can set tasks within the CRM, so it's good reminders. It links to your calendar, and vice versa. If you put something in your calendar, it links through to your CRM automatically. The CRM also allows you to do it on a mobile application in most cases. So you're talking for lodging an activity can take anywhere from a couple of minutes to 5 minutes at the most. So it's effectively a really great tool for time management and allows you to grow your business. Many businesses now are connecting the CRM, their customer, with their actual, their reporting factors of the financial aspect as well. So it's a key difference. So there's one concern I didn't talk about that, and it comes up from salespeople, is that, well, this can be used against me as a performance measure. The reality is it can. Very accurately, it can be used as a performance measure, and so it should be. Again, if I recap on the sales professionals are paid often in excess of $100,000 a year, which is on the higher scale of things, to deliver results. That's the reason they're paid at such a high level, is that they're very accountable, and they should be accountable because it's your biggest investment in the business. In saying that, I've always held the position as a sales professional when I was selling, I will do the best I can do in the role that I'm within and to my best of my capability. And if that's not good enough, well, maybe the role's not right for me, or the business isn't right for me, because sometimes that is the case. Sometimes the expectations may be unrealistic. However, I've never come across a salesperson telling me that their budgets or their targets are easy. It's normally, like, geez, we're getting stretched here. So my coaching on this topic is that if you're in a sales professional perspective and you want to be a professional and you regard yourself as a professional, use your CRM and use it to your benefit, the way you want to drive your business and become more organised and structured in your business. Drop the concern about it could be used as a performance manager. The reality that is going to happen. If you don't hit your targets and your numbers, questions will be asked. Again, that is why you're in the sales role. So don't worry about, you get over concerned with that aspect. Use it as a tool, how it should be used. From a leadership perspective, if you're not encouraging your sales team to be using CRMs at the moment, I would suggest it. I've got a topic on this, and I talk about, often I'm brought into a business and they say, look, we're going okay, but we're just not getting to the optimum we would like to go. And then when I talk to the salespeople, often the sales team will go, oh no, we're going great. So there's a disconnect between management and expectations in the sales team. So this clears it up. It becomes more transparent. I always say turn the lights on. You want a highly effective sales team, without doubt. That's why you've employed your team to do so. There should be no concern about providing validation of activities and results. That's high performers actually prefer that. They get frustrated when they don't have that measurement because they don't actually know if they're meeting expectations or not. So they want to know where clearly the lines are and how they can succeed. Hope this is helpful. It's a topic, again, there's always different views on it, but from my own experience in sales, I can see both sides of where those behaviours come from, but it is a critical tool and one any business should be using. Hope this is helpful. Please reach out to me if you'd like to talk about the topic further, or if you'd like to develop and grow yourself to your full potential or elevate your team. Have a great day and happy selling.